Welcome to the show.
Dude, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
You have a lot of fans, a lot of people in your corner. I mean, I'm not even talking about the people out there that just find you online and listen to your music. A lot of people in the business are like, this guy. But for some reason, you decided to do it your way rather than shopping around to record companies and stuff. Why that?
You know, it's funny because I was on X Factor really, really early on in my career before I really even started doing social media and all of that stuff. And I didn't make it very far in the show. I didn't really want to do it, actually, because I just didn't feel prepared yet. I was like 14. But it was a really good learning experience for me, just making friends from it and kind of seeing them go on. And people that were so passionate about music that kind of got trapped in deals and kind of got sidelined. And it was really sad for me. So I knew from an early age, even though I didn't know much about the industry, I just knew that wasn't the route I wanted to take. And I didn't want to lose passion for music, which is what I saw a lot of young people losing. And
you didn't have to. So many people are so into
And only
Jacob.
because they believed in me, honestly. If it wasn't for the fans believing in me, if my awesome team believing in me, I wouldn't be able to take this track. So I'm really gracious.
So now with millions of people following you, like on the Twitters of the world, and then they see your video. I mean, how the count is up there, and not that the count really matters everything, but it's so nice to know that tens of millions of people are watching your videos.
It's always been an amazing thing for me. I remember back when I used to get like 100 views, and I always get excited. Even if I got 3 comments, I'd go in and I'd create relationships. I'd talk to those people. They'd keep coming back, and that's what I still do to this day. I'd get more comments than I used to 3 years ago, but I'm still going in every day and just creating relationships. I don't look at them as like screaming crazy people. I look at them as regular people, and we talk.
We talk. When you answer them back, they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they are. But it's gotten better in person, actually, because they've gotten so comfortable with me at this point that I can, I think it was yesterday, I had a sold out show at Webster Hall.
Look at that.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. So thankful for that.
People would hear their hits, their songs on the radio. We have, we only play like 3 songs and play them over and over and over. And we made hits out of them.
Yeah.
Now we go online to find the Jacob Whitesides of the world, and then we follow and we bring you in. So I think taking this different path, it's different than what we're accustomed to in this business, I think that's fantastic. It's going to work for you. It already is.
Yeah.
You're on the biggest radio show in the world.
No, I appreciate it so much, and I'm grateful that everything's led up to this point. I used to dread getting, in the beginning, I was playing a lot of shows back home, and I was just playing on patios, and I was playing bars, and it sucked so much. I was playing 3-hour sets, and my dad forced me to, set up the PA. I learned how to set up a whole PA system. I'd break it down every night. I'd back him up, and we'd sit out there, and we'd sweat, and I dreaded it. I dreaded getting up every morning and doing that, but looking back on it, it was a big part of why I'm. Without that, how different would you be? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so amazing. That's why I'm such a firm believer now, and everything happens for a reason. No matter how bad it is, it gets you to. It makes you more appreciative in the end. So
though, Jacob, you could bring Beyonce in here today. You could, and ask her about paying dues. All artists will tell you they're still paying the dues.
Yeah,
the dues are never paid.
No, most definitely.
You're always going to have that bill coming in at the end of every month. When was the last time you played a song and it actually hit you, what you were singing and how it sounded, and you actually cried a little bit?
Last time.
Hey, do you do that? Are you that?
See, I'm not
plugged in?
Much of a crier, but I did.
Oh, well, give me 5 minutes. We'll have you. we love making people cry.
There was a couple songs on this album which I'm really excited about that I was close, and that's a lot for me because I usually don't get too emotional during the songwriting, or I get emotional, but I'm just not much of a crier. But there was a couple times I was close on this record. Just yeah, it was intense. I didn't experience that before.
But when you write your own songs like that, I mean, you basically are kind of exposing yourself to the world.
Most definitely.
Things. If you and I were talking, you wouldn't say these. You wouldn't talk about these things. Right. You wouldn't just say, "Hey, Elvis."
But it's really important for me, when a fan comes to my concert, if they don't have any social media, if they don't have anything, if they don't know nothing about me, then it's really important to me that they come to the show, then they learn something about my upbringing, my relationship, me as a person, and that's what I've been so thankful for so far about the songwriting process. Is it's just so easy to tell your story.
Tell us about your upbringing.
So I was definitely more into sports as a kid. I played sports for 8 years, football, basketball, all that stuff.
You were raised by your father?
Mom and dad. And then when I started music, actually, I was playing gigs and stuff with my dad, and my parents divorced after 15 years. And my relationship with my dad got a little bit shaky, and I moved back in with my mom, and that's kind of when I really started doing all of the YouTube stuff. And I was just posting videos over.
How'd you start? I mean, like, what, you just record someone else's song and people go, oh, that was great.
I was kind of just watching, like the Justin Biebers and the Austin Mahones, the people that were really breaking it for my generation. And I was just trying to make it more personal because I didn't have the amount of attention they were getting. But when I did get that attention, I wanted to make sure, like I said before, I went in and I would respond to people. I would talk to them and just create relationships because I wanted them to come back the next time I posted a video and leave the same comments. So that's literally what I did for the longest time. Eventually, it was getting bigger and bigger, and I actually got a shout out from Liam from One Direction, and that's one of the bigger Twitter followings online, the One Direction boys, and so he posted my video and kind of brought in a lot of his fans and got a lot of attention on there, and I went through and talked to them for ages and just kind of made sure that
that's how it started. I mean,
yeah, it was amazing.
Your story is unique. I mean, there are others that are starting their journey like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for instance, the first time you received a lot of hits, a lot of likes for one of your songs. Do you remember which song that was?
Yeah, it was definitely the One Direction one. It was 300,000 views like almost instantaneously.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 14.
14.
I was just blown away because my videos in the past had gotten like.
How did that change you when you saw that hundreds of thousands of views on your song? Did it make you say internally, you know what? I'm going to make a go of this.
It was motivating, because for the longest time with social media and just in real life in general now with Instagram and stuff, you just always see what other people are doing. And sometimes it's either discouraging or motivating. And it motivated me a lot. So although I did it for a long time and it just felt like I wasn't going anywhere, the One Direction thing really just like gave me the confidence to keep pushing forward and trying to break the social media machine because it was really hard to get into.
When you do the One Direction post and it goes crazy, what did your friends think? Like,
I didn't have a ton of friends, honestly.
Are you a loner?
I'm kind of a loner. Yeah, I had a couple like niche friends. I had a couple strong friends.
Have you ever murdered anyone?
I have not yet. I've been close a couple of times.
Would you like to?
Yeah. I'm good right now.
I feel like he's older than 18. I feel like I know you're saying you're 18, but I'm like, oh.
I'm like 18 and a half at this point. I got the fuzz growing in. So
he's got the 18 and a half fuzz.
He's got this wise.
I shaved the mustache this morning, but
okay. So you may not agree with what Danielle is saying, but if you do agree with the fact that maybe you are a little more wise than a typical 18-year-old, why do you think that is? What is it in your life?
A lot of it was just the people I associated myself with. Like I said before, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was playing in bars and stuff when I was 14, and that just wasn't normal for most 14-year-olds. And I was hanging out with a lot of my dad's friends, hanging out with my dad, and I feel like that kind of matured me really quick.
Yeah.
Staying out late and obviously not getting into what they were getting into, but being around them, and while they were playing all night, and then afterwards, I'm staying out till 3 a.m. I'm like 14. I wasn't really accustomed to that, but I got used to it, and I kind of really enjoyed being around older souls and stuff.
But it sounded like you were staying out till 4 in the morning for all the right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. We were working hard, working for those tips.
Good for you. Look, if you don't know who Jacob Whitesides is, you are beginning to learn about him. But please understand something. When he goes into town, he sells out. I mean, how many times have you said, "Oh, sold out"? New
York. I mean, New York's a strong market for me. I think I've sold out New York about 4 times now, which is just unbelievable. I did the Gramercy on my birthday last year and sold that out, and that was one of the first sellouts of my career. So that was a really, really big one for me, and started in New York. So
look, I'm a big advocate for what we do every day because, well, it pays the bills.
Yeah,
but there are so many different ways to find music, especially on iHeartRadio. We have so many different channels of discovery. But when you find someone like Jacob Whitesides, it makes you want to go out and learn about more artists.
There's so many. There really is so
many. I know.
Many.
And we try to do that on our show because, look, we do have our core audience, our core artists that we play over and over and over. And that it's fine. They're very important. And those are the same artists that got you interested in music,
Absolutely. There's the artists that I covered in the beginning. So,
but on the other hand, I love having you in here because we all know that you're taking off to the moon, and so you'll never forget.
No, absolutely.
They had me on when I was launching to the moon, even though you've been doing this for a while.
I think you're being a little bit modest because I just got some word that you've also sold out in Paris, you've sold out in Brazil, all over Europe.
New York was my first sellout, but I actually went over to Europe for the first time, which is amazing with social media.
You'd never been out of the country until you went over to work.
No, it was my first time, and I landed. The first time I landed in another country, it was Copenhagen, and Billy was there, and I got mobbed. It was
Isn't that crazy? You go to a foreign country where you need a passport to enter, and you get off the plane, and they all know you. You start singing, they know every word, every song.
Even with the language barrier, they sang, and it was just such a such a life-changing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Look, I've got to play Lovesick for you. The studio version is so incredible.
Thank you.
Jacob Whitesides' debut studio album is out in September. We have to wait till September.
I'm sorry. Didn't want to rush it.
Check him out. You know, do a search on Jacob Whitesides right now. Of course, go to Twitter. You know what? Let's put him to the test. Say something to him and see if he has the time to say something back. I bet you don't. You're so busy. Let me play Lovesick for you. And Jacob Whitesides, it's a pleasure to have you. I can't wait till you come back and see us.
Thank you for believing in me.
When the album, we totally believe you. And when the album comes out, we come back and perform something else from the album.
Absolutely.
All right, Jacob Whitesides, this is Lovesick.